Clarinets. I hope you had a great spring break. So this week is going to be a little bit shorter week. I'd like you to turn to page 10. And we are going to look at numbers 40, 41, and 42 this week. So we had already looked at 40 right before break, but I just kind of want to go over that with you again. And so page 10, number 40, the rhythm wrap, if you're looking at it right now, remember that eighth notes are bracketed together. They're like buddies. There's a stem that connects them at the top, from the top of their stem to the top of the next stem. And so usually we see these in groups of two, and so they each get a half a beat. But in number 40, you'll notice that there are 4 notes that are connected with a single beam across this top. They each get a half a beat. And so that does not change. So they can hook 4 of them together if they want. The thing that makes them an eighth note or a half a beat is either there is a single beam across the top, or if they stand all by themselves, instead of just making a line that juts off, they will curl it into what we call a flag. So these are all eighth notes. So how we would count them, because they each get a half a beat, is 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Full beats on the quarter notes, right? Okay, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to count this through, only counting the numbers where we would actually play a note if we were playing this on our instrument. So here's number 40. 1, 2, say it with me. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3. And then there would be a repeat sign on that, and we would do it twice. So sometimes people get confused with this because they're like, okay, I just don't get how you're counting and then you start over again, right? Like they haven't quite made that connection. So every time I have a bar line, which think of a bar like a jail bar, right? Up and down this direction. Every time you see that in your music, we start back over at 1. We have filled up a measure of counting and we start back at 1 again. This is what holds us together as musicians when we're all playing together. So we know that we can go up to 4 full beats in a measure, because at the beginning, remember, it says 4 over 4. That's our time signature, right? And the top number means I get 4 beats in the measure, and the bottom number means I'm going to count a quarter note as being a beat. So we're going to use this method of measuring music for quite some time. And then as you get better and better, we can change the top number, we can change the bottom number, and you'll be ready for it, and it really won't be that hard. It's just sort of like, you know, sometimes in math, they might ask you an assignment where you measure something in inches, but then you might go back and measure it in centimeters. And then if I said, wow, you can do that, you might laugh and roll your eyes and go, well, of course I can. It's just a little bit different measurement. It's the same thing with music. Music is very mathematical in its nature, and that's why a lot of musicians are actually really pretty good at math, or get very good at math. Okay, so let's go to number 41. So our very first note that we're going to play here is our Fs. And again, here they go with hooking 4 eighth notes together. So the counting for these first 4 notes are going to be 1 and 2 and, just like the exercise in 40. So play this along with me. You should know all of these notes fairly well, I think. Here we go, 41. 1 and 2 and, here we go. So when you play this as your example for your assignment this week, go ahead and take the repeat sign and do it twice through, okay? All right, so I have a feeling most of you are going to be like, you know what, that was actually kind of easy. I got that pretty good. So 42 now we're going to do Skip to My Lou. So this one actually, no pun intended, the notes do kind of skip around a little bit, so you're going to have to look at this one carefully. So the very first note we're going to start on is E. So remember, E is thumb 1. So remember, we had A, which was the top grade, A, G, thumb F, E, D, thumb 1, 2, C, 1, 2, 3, and we stretched one note lower before break on that. If we play a C and we add the middle finger to the middle ring, we will have a low B. And remember, that's the one where the note, the head of the note, slides below the ledger line under the staff. So you can play quite a few notes now. Okay, so here we go. You ready? This will be our second assignment, or our second tune for this week. Skip to My Lou. Here we go. 1, 2, and play with me. Next line. Rest. Awesome. So that one was using most all of your notes now. And so you can see the melodies get more and more interesting the more notes that you can play. So did you do okay? My concern would be measure 3. That's the one where you're going to play D, 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 B, B, B. Remember that it drops, the head of the note drops below that ledger line. And I have a feeling that if you messed up, that might be the spot where you had a little bit of trouble. Remember that sometimes that note will tend to squeak, because if you're not over your rings really good and solid, it's going to kick back at you. It's not this. If all your other notes are playing and just that C or that low B is squawking on you, don't do anything up here. You're okay up here. Make sure your fingers are sealed up. That's the only thing that is causing that to sound weird or to squawk at you, okay? So just keep at it. And as always, if you have trouble, getting in a mirror where you can see your reflection is a huge help. Okay, so I would like you to play 41 and 42 for me for this week, okay? And then next week we'll come back. If you're like, hey, that's kind of easy, I got that, okay? Start playing some of the other songs on this page. One of them that you might not realize that you know is number 45. We're going to be playing that next week, and we'll be playing it slowly, but if we sped it up, it would be William Tell is the kind of that famous horse riding kind of sound that you may be like, hey, I know that melody. So we will actually be playing that very recognizable, very classical, famous piece of music, which is really exciting, right? We're only a few weeks into this, so bravo to you. So have a good week. If you have any trouble, please just contact your director for help, or you can contact me at tholloway@dunlapcusd.net. Okay? Have a great week. Hope you had a great Easter. Bye-bye.